Okay.
Colleen's passing things out to read. Don't take one if you don't feel like reading. You have a choice here. Okay, there you go.
Wow, you got rid of them.
You're gonna know.
Did you save one for yourself?
You know when it's your turn to read because I'm gonna give you the title. Okay. So you don't have to wait. It's not right now. So just hold on. We're right now. CCL is rejuvenating our spiritual path. We decided many of you have things to do on Sunday, and us starting at 15:20 after and keeping you here until 10 to 12, it might not work for you. So our rejuvenation is starting at 10 o'clock, and we're going to start with announcements. Okay? So if you have an announcement to make and you're worried you might not get here in time, email Corky and say, this is the announcement I would like for you to do, and we'll do it. Because what's happened is we would write down all of the announcements, and then everybody would stand up and announce it, which seemed like it was kind of double thing. It was very redundant, and we love to hear you. So if you have something you want to add, just because she reads it doesn't mean you can't jump up and say, and by the way, it's going to be held at the Veterans Hall and we're going to be naked. Well, listen. So
at least the day before, though, not the
day before, not the morning of, because usually everything's too busy to be able to check in and see what's going on. The other announcement is we have to clear this room of everything before 1 o'clock, and we're not going to start until 11:30. And I don't think it's going to take that much time because we're going to put everything in the warehouse so that when the people get here to clean and pick up the carpet and scrape the floor and lay the tile, and which it's an LVT. It looks like wood. And so it comes in planks.
It's a plank style.
42 inches long.
Laminate, right?
It's a type of laminate, yeah. So it's going to go down.
Indestructible?
It's commercial grade. That's why we had to, this is one of those things that I knew what it was going to cost, and then they keep adding, and they keep adding. And then finally when they said, well, that's just for residential, and it'll last, we'll guarantee it'll last a year. So we got commercial that's guaranteed to last 10 years. So the price will come in. So that if you hear us talking
but that doubled
about
the price.
money, realize that's why. I'm not trying to completely ask about money every week, but things are happening. And yes, Donna.
And Friday afternoon around 5, if anybody has time that they could come and help us return the sanctuary back.
Because we have a Saturday class.
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
And then, we had CCL have a little karaoke night, and we could do that after we set up if anybody's interested in helping us set up. And
What time on Friday?
Around 5 or 6, whenever you get here after work.
And I understand the karaoke night was very fun last Friday.
Impromptu karaoke was very fun.
And that's at the American Legion Hall?
In Campbell, on
Campbell.
1344 Dell Avenue.
And if you like to sing or you just like to watch,
There's some really good singers.
Really, really good. And it's there's plenty of parking, and if you're so inclined, you can even grab a drink if you want. It's something. It's great entertainment. It's not very expensive, and especially for me and Diet Pepsi. So you might want to take an opportunity to do that.
It's like $1 for a soda.
It's $1 for a soda. Yeah, it's just fun. So thank you all so very much. So as we talk about rejuvenation, not only rejuvenating here at CCL, what we're going to be doing, we also talk about rejuvenating yourself. When we talk about spirituality, people seem to think that they don't have to believe in anything. They can just say, I believe in spirituality, and then they float. Have you noticed that? Instead of saying, I have some definite ideas. I believe it's not okay to harm children. I believe it's not okay to lie to me. There are things, spirituality isn't a blanket that says you can do anything you want and it's okay. So I want you to think about that. When I talk about spirituality, it's acceptant of everybody's faith. If you're Jewish or Buddhist or Hindu, spirituality is about accepting everybody. And it also means you accept Christianity and you accept every aspect of different people's faiths. It doesn't mean you necessarily are going to be joining that, but you accept it. Acceptance is part of spirituality. In this group, we have a lot of people who not only are believers in everything and acceptant, but they also work with what we call spiritualist training, spiritualist mediumship, spiritualist, whether it be numerology, whether it be working with the tarot. So we have this wonderful title of being spiritual spiritualists.
Yo, good.
Yeah, think of that. Oh, yeah. So because you have spiritualists all over the world based in different foundations. Here we're based in an accumulation of everything.
Bless you.
But sometimes, even though we're spiritual, we get doubt. We feel something kind of sneaking up on us. Or you have a miserable day, and you want to blame someone. Have you ever done that? Have you ever had this miserable day and say, God, why'd you do this to me? I can honestly say God doesn't do it to you. Many of you were raised in that type of religion. Okay, one of my favorite stories is we had an earthquake in the late 40s. I was a little girl, I was about 6, 7. And the earth parted on the back side of our property. And you could go out there and there was smoke coming up and the smell of sulfur. And you looked down and you could see forever. And my grandfather grabbed me by the hand and said, see down there? That's where the devil lives. And if you're not good, he's going to come out and get you. Oh my God. And, okay. And the next morning went up and it was gone. The earth had shifted again and that little crevice was gone. And my grandfather said, he's waiting for you. I'd seen hell and it was still there, you know. But what does that do to you as a child?
Still fear.
Oh, fear and lack of trust and all sorts of things. So when you are a spiritual person, you don't get that in you. God did this to me. What you get is, I am walking a spiritual path. And I am going to walk with people who share who I am. If somebody does something to you, you can either accept it, make them wrong, or shoot them. You know, you've got all these things that you can do.
Bury the body.
And that's what happens in what's going on in the country. Have you read about people who are getting shot because they did something in road rage, or they did something to somebody's? I read one where somebody accidentally mowed part of somebody's lawn, and he got shot. So think about this. This is not about people doing something to you. It's people doing something and how you handle it. And that is what is spirituality. And I know many of you are very busy. A lot of your days are meetings, projects, deadlines, family issues, money problems, all of these urgent things. And what happens when you do that? Your spiritual quotient kind of drops, doesn't it? You don't think about being spiritual. You think about what you have to do, what you have to accomplish. I want you, during this time when I'm giving this talk today, think about how you can add some spirituality into what you do every day. You don't have to stop by the local church, you may if you want, and pray for an hour. You can just do something at your desk to heighten your spirituality. Because if you don't, you're going to burn out from the effects of stress. I don't know how many of you ever feel like that. You are so stressful, you go home and you think, all I want to do is just...
Veg.
Not only veg, eat all the food in the refrigerator, you know? Or maybe what you want to do is you want to go home and yell at your dog, or you want to, you want to scream at your spouse. You want to blame somebody for you being completely stressed out. And it's so much easier if you take that time for rest and rejuvenation. Rejuvenation means you're going to get back to where you were before. Back to that place where you were feeling, I'm a spiritual person doing God's work on the planet. So think about that. Because this year is moving very quickly. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
We're in April.
We're almost at mid-April.
Yeah, yeah. And when you look at that, you go, April, taxes. Oh my gosh, did I get a tax on time? Or is the IRS gonna audit me? What's gonna happen? Slow down and say, I am here having a marvelous time. And just start smiling at people. We stood up and we smiled. And how did that feel?
Good.
You know, you get more benefit than the other person. Using those muscles opens you up to being able to receive more and to let go of stress. And what about silence? Who can read about silence? Anybody have somebody?
I have silence
Let's go,
one.
Colleen.
Silence. We become so used to the constant noise around us that we are often unaware of how much it grates on us and increases our stress levels. Only in the silence will you hear the voice of your spirit guides, guardian angel, God! We yearn for silence, yet we still find it hard to be comfortable with it. Don't run from silence. Learn how to harness its power. Sit silently and listen to your next spiritual rejuvenation tip.
How many of you can just be quiet for 1 minute? Okay, let's just sit here and try it. Breathe. Somebody has a paper that says breathe on it.
It was only 30 seconds.
I know, but you're going to go into it. It's a breathe.
Breathe. As you sit quietly, take a second to notice your breath. The physical and emotional benefits of breathing are well documented. Breathe in a positive energy and release negative. Picture breathing a nice spring breeze into your lungs and exhaling all the stress, problems, anger, etc. that you've been holding. Do this for 10 breaths and feel your energy increase. If you can do this and smile, it will double the therapeutic benefits.
You ready? 1. Smile. You can do your own count, okay? I'm standing here looking for smiles and I haven't seen one yet. Come on, you're one more, last one and smile. Come on, bring it in. Fantastic, welcome back. Are remember, you're the one who can rejuvenate yourself spiritually. Somebody's got one that says call, write, or email.
I would be the one to get this one. Text says, need to hear from me. Call, write, or email someone later today. How many of you go for days or weeks before calling a parent or loved one because we couldn't carve out 30 minutes to an hour? A quick call is far better than nothing. Not only is it good for your relationships, it can also give you positive energy and remind you that connecting to the people we love is connecting to God.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Thank you all that have chosen to read today. I really do appreciate it. On the way to church this morning, I called Parker. Parker is my granddaughter, and she'll be 7 today. And what I got was a message machine because she's having a party. So we sang.
This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
For those of you who don't know that, that is our CCL birthday song. And so this is from Bima, and this is from Corky. And as I did that, I was sending that love of connecting with the grandchild through my voice and through the fact that we called. Now, that didn't even take, 5 seconds. But I know when Parker gets that phone, it's me who called and it's my birthday. So think about that you're reaching on the other end of the phone. This love, this energy, this connection. And yesterday I called a friend of mine in Hawaii. That call was an hour and a half. Okay. And because we had so many things to talk about and to really solve in the world, you know. Do you have a friend like that? Yeah, where you can call them, talk to them? Yes, Lou.
Within the last 10 days, my brother and I connected with our long-lost cousins.
Oh, great.
I had to call Hawaii yesterday, too.
Yeah. Well, luckily, my person in Hawaii still has a 408 number, so that helps, you know, to be able to call. That energy that you receive, and mainly we were talking about my kids, she is totally estranged from her children. They don't want to talk to her anymore. My kids, she's a godmother for one of my children. And so this woman, her name is Rosie. Rosie was telling me, oh, and Bob and Kim are going to be back from Paris today. Oh, I didn't know that. Miranda and Brian, my grandkids, are in Washington, D.C., and they just went to the Washington Monument. Gee, I didn't know that. And it was so fun finding out from Hawaii what my kids were doing in different areas. Because she is that go-to aunt. Did you ever have one of those go-to people that no matter what was going, you could call in the middle of the night and say, oh, she's that. They don't have to explain anything where they do with me. You did what? You know, she is there. Find a there person for you, that good friend you can call in the middle of the night. And you know how you find that out? You ask him. Ronnie knows he can call me in the middle of the night. We've talked about it. Okay. I said, sure, if you run into some problems, call me. Do the, you know, we can do this. We've known each other many lives. And so what happens, isn't that a fun way to do that? Many lives. So what happens, that connection, just like Carolyn was saying, Virginia needs to know that we're thinking of her, so we're going to do it with a card. Don't hesitate to call somebody if they're the type of person you can call in the middle of the night. Every one of you has some friends. Some friends are San Jose friends. You do things with them here. Other of your friends might be San Francisco friends. You go up there, you spend the day, you have a great time. Some friends might be Salt Lake City friends. You can call on them if you have problems, and you know what? They'll get on a plane and come take care of you. And what I always tell people, Rosie's my New York friend. If I was in the hospital, she'd fly from Hawaii or New York, anywhere to be with me. So think about it. They're all friends, but you can count on people for different things. And that's okay. Some people you might not ever hear from. Like my friend Barbara, who still, I've known her now for 60 years. And we still communicate every once in a while, but very seldom, but we know that we're each other's best friend. Look into the friendship quotient. When you're looking at your spiritual rejuvenation, rejuvenate your friendships. It might be somebody from kindergarten. It could be your aunt. It could be anybody. But it's time to rejuvenate your spiritual connections. Remember, they're part of God. We want to rejuvenate them. Yes?
People do knock it, but that is the way, Facebook is the way that I found my cousins and a lot of long-lost friends.
Right. And that's
And reconnected.
That's rejuvenation. That's putting into spirituality. What about exercise? For you people who are so busy at work, how does that work? Somebody has take a walk. Colleen?
Take a walk. Get up from behind your desk and go for a 10-minute spiritual walk. It doesn't need to be in a chapel or cathedral. Walk in God's favorite church, the beautiful outdoors. Hug a tree, walk barefoot on the grass. Look at your reflection in a pond, or simply feel the rays of the sun on your face.
How many of you get a chance to do that? Take it. Don't say, they give you a break. They give you lunch at almost every job I know of. And people say, oh, I don't have time. Do 10 minutes. Just get out. Let's just walk in the sunshine. Lately, I have all these people coming in and say, I don't remember anything. I'm losing my memory. And my spirit guide, Ma, says, you need more vitamin D. We're not getting out enough to fulfill that requirement. And we're finding that taking things artificially in pills quite often isn't as good as the real thing. So, if nothing else, go out just for 10 minutes to improve your brain. If you can remember to do it, that is. Just take that moment to do that. Exercise, you're going to hear about it more and more and more as we, as a whole nation, are getting older. You're going to be hearing more about it. You should do this, you should do that as far as exercise. Don't worry about it and go, oh, I can't, I don't have the right shoes, I don't have the right clothes. Just do it. Okay? If nothing else, find some stairs that are outside and walk up and down a building. Do something. I have these wonderful people that walk, 7 miles a day. And they also are getting hip surgeries. So something's going on there that we have to look at. And I know there are many, many things along that way. Somehow we feel if a little's good, a lot's better. My daughter-in-law runs 100 miles once a month. And she's now having shin splints. Yeah, even though she's a tiny little thing. Yeah. No, it's in the forest. She just did a diva run on Myrtle Beach. But she's saying, I don't think my body wants me to do this. Listen to your body and see what it has to say.
Is that the 24-hour run?
Yeah, that was a 24-hour run. She did, yeah. Yes, Lynn.
I wanted to add this. I go and see my chiropractor, and there's this man, Leon. He's about maybe 60 years old, and I really like him. He's got magical hands, and he works on my body whenever I have a problem. And he swims. He's probably about 5'2". But how it blends with what Dottie just talked about is I went and saw him the other day, and I could hardly move my arm. And I did this, and this, and whenever I exercise, I'm thinking, well, I've got to increase my waist, I've got to do that. And the advice he offered me is this. He said, just do your routine. You're not 20 years old. You don't have to keep adding the weights. He said, just do the same thing every day. So if you're walking 1 mile and you want to push yourself, you don't really have to. It's just that the joints are being lubricated, the muscles are, acknowledging that, you're doing something. So it supports what you say. Whatever works for you, just a little bit for whatever amount of seconds that it would take.
That's great. And I'm sure, Dr. Eileen, you feel the same way. Some people overdo.
The spirit can be willing and the body can be at least needing a little bit more time.
Could you hear that? Yeah, the spirit can be willing, but sometimes the body
needs a little bit of listening, because a lot of it is. And maybe 1 week the body's able to do a certain level, the next week it can do different. So by listening to the body and adjusting things to where when you feel you can do more safely, do it. If it's the time when your body's saying, you know what, we need to dial it back, but it's about really listening to ourselves, which a lot of people don't take the time to do.
Right, that no pain, no gain, I think, got a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of watch that. All right. Okay, how many of you do kind deeds? Okay, who has kind deed?
If you see someone looking lost or distressed, take a minute to see if they are doing okay. Pay it forward and buy a meal for a homeless man in a diner. Or pay a toll for the person in the car behind you. Become more attentive to the needs of those around you and begin to act in small ways. Pray for folks who are going through a difficult time.
Right. And that's one of the things that, Donna, you do a lot of helping other people, finding people places to live, or finding people jobs, or that type of thing. But think about, and sometimes they're just very, very simple little things. I was looking at People magazine last night, and Reynolds, who I think is just this gorgeous actor, was standing on a corner, and a blind woman was there. And everybody walked around her, and obviously she was trying to cross the street, so he just walked up. Now, she had no idea that a movie star was asking if he could help her across the street. And they got on to the other curb, and he said, "What else can I do?" And she said, "Would you go shopping with me?"
Oh, sweet.
So here's a 70-some-old woman, and they are walking through the store, and everybody's so excited, and she has no idea what this is all about. And afterwards, he said he spent an hour with her, and it was the best hour he had spent all month. So think about that. You don't even have to identify yourself to just help somebody. When I was speaking at the Saratoga Country Club, when Ronnie and I went there, thanks to Mike and Linda Sue, I told the story about Paul, the gentleman who was a homeless person who every day I gave $1 to. And the fact that after a while, he wanted to know why I believed in him, because he said to me, "Dottie," he didn't say Dottie, he didn't know my name, but he said, "Why do you do this?" And I said, "Because my son was a drug addict, and he was homeless, and I was helping the people to help him." And he looked at me, he said, "I'm a drug addict." And I said, "I know," because he told me his name was Paul. I said, "I know, Paul, but I believe that whatever you do with this money, it's going to turn out okay." And I was mentioning I have these long conversations at a corner, because it's Brokaw hitting First Street in the morning, where the VTA goes back and forth, and sometimes you sit there for 7 minutes. I mean, I got to know this whole kid's life. And then one time he said, "My dad and I have made up, and I'm in rehab. And this is probably the last time I'll see you. Thank you for believing in me." And I said, "You're welcome." And I figured out, with the $20 for Christmas and the $1 every time I came that way, maybe it cost me $45 to save somebody. So you never know. When you do a kind deed, you never know that what it's going to happen or what not. And if he'd still been standing at that corner, Paul and I would still be having these lengthy conversations of, when he graduated from school, and how he gets along with his dad and his mom's dad, and all these things that we talked about. What did it take out of my time? Very little out of my pocket. And I was sitting waiting for a light. So think about what you can do to help. Now, the other thing to get rid of tension and help you spiritually is to stretch. So right now, put your hands, right now, Ray, please read it. Yeah, as they do it.
The stretch and tension we experience in our day-to-day lives often show up in our bodies in the form of tense muscles. Right now, melt away the stress by raising your hands above your head and reach towards the Creator.
Do we have a stretch song we can sing? Anything you can think of? I was singing Happy Days Are Here.
That's the YMCA.
I'm a little seaweed floating in the ocean.
YMCA. As far, let's see if we can touch the sea.
There's one that's a little kids one.
Yes.
No, that's I'm a little teapot. Here's my hand.
Oh, here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout, just tip me over and pour me out. Or as my niece sings, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my other handle. I'm a sugar bowl. Here are affirmations. Who has affirmations?
Affirmations. You are what you think. We often take thoughts for granted, not realizing how much they can affect our mood and well-being. Begin to exert influence on your thoughts by speaking affirmations aloud. I am happy. I am a healthy child of God. I am in the work I love. I am in a wonderful relationship, etc. Get in the habit of saying daily affirmations.
Okay, now I want you all to repeat it now. I'm going to tell you what you're going to repeat. I am a happy, healthy child of God. Are you ready?
I am a happy, healthy child of God.
One more time. Yes.
I am a happy, healthy child of God.
Yes.
Beautiful child of
God. You're a beautiful child of God. Yes, you are.
I have a horrible time doing affirmations. It's just, I wasn't brought up that way. So I have on my mirror in my bathroom, which nobody else can see, do your affirmations now. Yes.
And you know what you should change it to? I am doing my affirmations now. So it doesn't, so you don't feel guilty. You can say, I am doing my affirmations now. Prayer. Yes, Mary.
Didn't it feel good this morning to have Reverend Donna lead us in prayer? What a wonderful way to connect with the divine and cope with life's ups and downs. Use it to let go of burdens and as a source of rejuvenation.
Right, yeah, so you rejuvenate by, and don't start out praying, God, where'd you go? What you doing? How come you're not helping me? I don't have enough money. Don't use prayer to gripe. Start saying, God, thank you so much, it's a beautiful day. Thank you so much for allowing me to be the person I want to be. Thank you so much. Start out with thank you. And then towards the end you might say, oh, and by the way, I really would like to have my nails done today or whatever it is. But, you know, my feeling is Source has so much going on that we don't need to keep, it's like filling up the airwaves with all of this minutia. Think of ways to just say, thank you. Oprah Winfrey is the person who first said this. She said, I have an attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
And who has that one?
An attitude of gratitude. Think of one thing you are grateful for and hold a mental image of that thing for 1 or 2 minutes. Thank Source for this particular energy. Thanking God encourages more to come your way.
Right. Anybody have an attitude of gratitude they'd like to say this morning? Yes, Gloria.
I always have an attitude of gratitude, and God just keeps blessing me, and I think it's because of it. You know, like attracts to itself, and I'm in a position in my life right now where it is most amazing, and I can't help but be grateful because God does for me, through others, those things that I can't even do for myself right now.
Yes. Fantastic. And somebody else had their hand up for an attitude of gratitude. Donna, are you grateful that we're going to get a new floor?
Absolutely.
All of those things, that just thanking God, and try that every day.
And we don't have to rip it up, and they're gonna re-carpet on.
I had called everybody.
Our writers too.
I was trying to get a hold of people to have me help rip up the carpet. And I got a lot of moans and groans about it. Well, I don't know if I'm back at the table. I don't know. When they said it's only $181 and we'll take all the carpet up, dispose of the carpet, scrape the floor, remove the vinyl, I went, shh.
You're
Got
done.
done.
And done.
Exactly.
We'll buy that one.
Ronnie, you have an attitude of gratitude.
talking very softly because I'm in the middle of a show.
Mm-hmm.
But a few years ago, I went to the hospital. You all heard about the visit to the hospital that I had. While I was in the hospital, they put me on a ventilator. That means that they stuck things down my throat and all this kind of stuff. Well, they took the things out of my throat. This is my gratitude. When I stand up and sing, I do this because when they ripped this out of my throat, they also damaged my vocal cords. And they didn't tell me that they damaged my vocal cords because I probably found a short pier to walk off of. But the Creator, who I'm a glad servant of, decided that wasn't my time to quit singing. So every time that I open my mouth and music comes out, that to me is a miracle. And I'm grateful to be able to do that every time I'm able to do that.
And I want to thank everybody else in CCL, UCM, who we prayed and we prayed. We prayed outside your hospital room. We prayed every chance we got when we heard. We heard before Ronnie did that his vocal cords had been abused. And so we were just waiting for him to get better, but we were all putting our prayers up there. And I'm sure that God heard all those prayers, Ronnie. Thank you so much for acknowledging that. Okay, and that thanking God and taking that time to say, I have an attitude of gratitude, and this is what it is, feels so good. What about meditating? Somebody has a long purple. Go, Lillian. You want to stand up or you find there?
I'll stand up. Meditate. Take time to sit down, close your eyes, and meditate. It is time to sit quietly and bring in Source, the Mother, Father, God, Jesus, Buddha, the Goddess, Earth Spirits, or whatever gives you a sense of peace. Don't worry about how long you meditate, just do it. And when your meditation has been quietly brought to a close, take some time to look at where you are going in your spiritual life. If you have difficulty meditating, then read and think on your favorite motivational quotes. Whenever you hear a quote that speaks to you, write it down. Turn to them when you need encouragement.
Thank you. Thank you, Lily. And many people say, I don't know how to meditate. Find a quote. Focus on it. Feel it. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Put that in your head and work with it. Because meditation should be that releasing everything that's in your brain. But for some people, that's so scary. So think about what you can do, but focus on nothing. After you do what you do, you read that saying, focus on it, and then release it, and just sit there and quiet and feel God's energy come through you. How many people meditate every day? Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you have to take, I do it in the shower 10 minutes every morning.
Helps if you have a shower chair too.
Yeah. But for me, I just stand there and let the water beat on the back of my neck and just stand there. And for those, how many in here have any kind of back problems? Anybody? This is something that my doctor at Kaiser said. She said, when you're in the shower, take your hands, put them over your head like this, stretch for as much as you can, let the water be beating on your back, and stretch for 30 seconds. It's the only thing she's found that's helped arthritis of the back. Yeah, it's nice to have I was going to say a chiropractor. It's great to have a chiropractor, but it's also nice to have a doctor at Kaiser who is a Jain. Okay, and if you aren't familiar with Jainism, it's that religion that Buddhists follow, that Buddhism came from. And her name is Dr. Jane, if you're looking for a good doctor. Yes,
I do a whole stretching routine in the shower, actually. Stretch my shoulders, my arms, my legs, everything under the hot water.
So there you are in this little tiny room. This little tiny room. Start naked before God, and I'm doing stretches and praying and affirmations and cleaning my aura and all of that. It's wonderful because you can release things and let them go down the drain. So, okay. Any of you have a journal? Did you write it? Who has the thing about journal? Okay, they're done.
Write down your last night's dreams
and then write about what's happening to you right now. Don't worry about writing a literary masterpiece. Simply record your dreams, thoughts, and feelings. This improves your intuition and helps you find where you are in your spiritual life.
Okay, thank you. How many of you are working on becoming more intuitive? Doing some mediumship, whatever. Start with your dreams. If you can't remember a dream, tell your dream maker you want to remember it. You get ready to go to bed and you say, okay, dream maker, whoever's doing these dreams for me, I want to remember a dream. And if you wake up the next morning and you have this dream of a little red car, write it down, little red car. And then the next night, say, hey, got a little red car, thank you very much, dream maker, what do you want to add to it? This is not quite lucid dreaming, but it's getting in touch with your dreams. In doing this, I found out that every time I dreamed of a little red car, I received money. So what kind of car do you think I had? I had a little red convertible. You look like a Toyota Celica. And it was great because that's what I was given. So your symbology in dreams is your symbology. You don't have to find an encyclopedia that says, the one that gets me is if a woman dreams about a stick, it's because she wants to have a penis. Young. I felt that if I dreamt about having a stick, I was going to beat the heck out of somebody. So maybe they go hand in hand. I'm not too sure. But think about that. When you have a dream, write it down. Don't judge it. Don't anything. Write it down and know what you're saying. You are getting intuition. You are getting mindfulness coming up.
What about recurring dreams?
Yeah, always write them down and then add what else is adding to it. Because once you start writing down a dream, you're going to get more and more information about it.
Well, I've a dream that's been recurring since I was probably in elementary school.
Quite often that's a past life.
Yeah.
You want to come talk to me or talk to Sean or talk to people who work with dreams. Yeah. Find out what it's about if you're interested.
The dream is concluded.
Oh, good.
But it's like, it's all good in the dream, but it's just, I still have it. You know, it comes to a conclusion now.
Oh, good. Yeah, dreams are excellent. Okay, what about making donations to your favorite charity?
CCF? Make a donation to your favorite charity.
Yay!
Hopefully, CCL is one of your favorites because we are still needing money to continue updating the sanctuary. And donations help with charitable contributions on your taxes.
Yay! Yay!
It's not too late.
Somebody said, yeah, but you need a minimum of $5,000 in charitable donations. I said, great. I'll take it. We have a couple of people who did that last year, and they wrote and said, you don't realize what it does. The IRS doesn't get that money. CCL does. And I know, that's what we're talking about. But making a donation to your favorite charity is also spiritual. It's you sitting there and saying, I want to help a group that I believe in. What about music? What about, okay.
Listen to your favorite music. You'll feel better instantly, particularly if you're driving in crazy-making traffic. Relax, flow with the music. Just let go of all negativity.
Right.
Yell it out.
And don't yell at the person that comes by you and it's the whole car's going up and down. It's got a great beat. That would be me. You know?
Love them.
And that's you. You're the one.
How you doing this too late?
I drive with the one that's air drumming.
You do air drumming?
I'm air drumming while I'm driving.
In your car, with two hands in your car?
Mostly with one hand. I'm wailing one hand up there. Yes.
But music
singing
is incredible. Whatever the music is that you like. Don't be judgmental about other people's music they like. It's all about just what the music you like. Yes, Nick.
I once was talking with a police officer at one of the shopping centers that he was there with his daughter doing the Girl Scout trooping stuff. And I knew him. And we got to talking. He says, what do you think is the most potent drug on the face of the earth? And I turned to him and I said, music. And he goes, well, why do you say that? I said, because every time you hear a song, it brings back a memory of
Yes,
life.
it does, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. I'm old enough to have heard one of the first rock and roll songs, and it was Shaboom.
Oh.
And every once in a while I hear shaboom, shaboom, la 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 la, shaboom, shaboom. And I am in my little car, my little Plymouth. It was baby blue, and I was driving away from high school heading into town. Because we could go into town and eat lunch. And all of my friends were walking along the street, piling into my little car. And we're all in our little car, you know, shaboom, shaboom. And it's like, wow. Thank goodness they don't write music like that anymore. It was a little bit, yes, Sean.
You know, a great way to combine your attitude of gratitude and music into your life is to shift your energy into a song. To bring thank you, to bring gratitude back. And I have to say, I'm just saying this really quickly for you. If you don't know this song by Bob Marley, you should know it. It goes, thank you, Lord, for what you've done for me. Thank you, Lord, for what you're doing now. Thank you, Lord, for every little thing. Thank you, Lord, for you make me sing.
That is great. Thank you so much.
Blessings, Bob.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. That is perfect. Okay. How do you practice mindfulness?
Think.
Okay. Somebody's got a little thing that says practice mindfulness. Here you go, my dear.
And I gotta say, this is like, it couldn't have been more perfectly timed and put in the person's hand more perfectly than mine. Because getting off of work this morning and trying to get here in a timely manner, and I had an individual that wanted to get in my way. Let's just put it that way.
You might tell people what it is that you do as a job, and they'll understand how sometimes it's difficult.
Okay, what I do for a living is I work in the 911 system. So I work on the big blue and yellow ambulances that drive around this county. So when you dial 911 for medical, car accidents, whatever, I'm the one that shows up and helps out with whatever is happening. And we had an extremely busy night last night, and we got held over an hour this morning, and it was just piling on. And as I was trying to leave to get here, this gentleman decided he wanted to try and get in my way, and I drove around him, and I'm like, okay, fine. And as I was getting on the freeway, I was getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and I'm like, calm down, calm down. You don't want to walk into church with your energy level 50 miles wide around you. Calm down. Come ground, bring yourself back into your body, it's okay. And I wound up calling a friend. I'm like, help me, ground. I need to get my feet on the ground to walk into church, because otherwise I can't walk into church. So when I saw this and I caught on to what was going on, is practice mindfulness, and I'm like, oh yeah, hello, good morning. Welcome to your day, Bonnie. So it says, mindfulness is the ability to become fully engaged in the present. It is more difficult than it sounds, since our minds wander to past difficulties or future anxieties, or we engage in daydreaming or mind wandering. Research has shown that mind wandering contributes to our unhappiness. The good news is that we can become more connected to Source by being in the now.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, one of the things I found that's keeping people from being connected to the now are these handheld devices that we use. Whether it's phone, screens, tablets, whatever. Somebody has disconnect. Who has that?
Who do you think?
Actually, I've been doing more of this lately. My phone stays put away a lot more often than it used to. So in the Bay Area, we're saturated with computer screens. I'm telling you, I go to work, and I'm walking, looking forward where I'm looking, because I don't want to bump into anybody, and I've got all these people that are walking down the hall like this constantly. It's constant. It's constant. And they don't look up, they don't look out, and they just bash straight into you.
they start walking into elevators before other people have walked out of them. I mean, just no mindfulness really there at all. So we're saturated with our computer screens, tablets, smartphones, and flat screen TVs. It's possible to spend your entire waking hours staring at glowing screens. This is true. Put them down for 5 minutes to rest your eyes and your mind. You'll likely be tempted to spend a few more minutes away from screens once you disconnect, pray, meditate, or put yourself into a prayerful attitude. Time to chill and just be and not to do.
So think of that. How much time do you spend looking at a device instead of looking at people? Remember when we smiled this morning? How did it feel to smile at somebody?
Right.
It felt even better to get that smile back, didn't it? So think about it. We are a people. We're not a machine. And so how you start working with that people energy, because every person is a part of God. I don't know, I know my cell phone is not a part of God. It might even be leaning on the other side, truly, because it keeps calling people when I'm not watching it. So, if you got a call from me, you might want to say, are you sure you want to do this, Patty?
You sure that isn't Mom?
I don't know who it is, but I called my receptionist this morning and don't know why. So we'll find out.
Well, her birthday's on Wednesday.
Yeah, that is. Debbie's birthday's on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, who can you celebrate today? Absolutely. Jump up and scream and yell and celebrate today. Who can you do that for? How about you? Okay, who has that?
I do.
Uh-huh.
Celebrate you. As you embark on your spiritual rejuvenation, celebrate each victory regardless of size. And be patient with yourself. You can do it. As they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, 1 step at a time or 1 day at a time.
1 day at a
Or
time.
1 minute at a time.
1 minute.
Sometimes 1 second.
Every time you find yourself moving away from spirit, every time you get a sense that your spiritual connection is being severed, is being dropped, is having difficulty, stop and say, I am a child of God. God's energy is within me. I am a spiritual person. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. Let's honor that. I have 4 more pages of notes. I think it's time to stop. Thank you, readers. Thank you so much for helping us. And we're now going to take our donations. So don't forget our floor as you're making our donation. Your donations, okay? Yeah, here we go. Giving to the ministry.